If you follow Why We Buy It on any of our social media channels, be that TikTok, Instagram, what have you, you may have noticed I mentioned this particular watch maybe about a week ago on those channels. And I didn't reveal which watch it is, but today's the day you get to find out. And some of you already guessed it. But this is a Seiko QT quartz model from the 70s. But what makes it special is it's got the snowflake dial, right? The dial that kind of relaunched Grand Seiko in the modern era, right? Both Grand Seiko and King Seiko were dropped in the 70s because of the quartz crisis, really, because of the development of quartz. They decided that that would be their focus and instead replaced them with the King Quartz and the Grand Quartz. And then went on and just made a number of different quartz models in different categories. But eventually, as the nostalgia of mechanical movements kind of came back, right? With the watch enthusiast movement, right? The increasing number of people who are interested in those nostalgic movements. Grand Seiko was brought back, and with the launch of it, they released the Snowflake model, which kind of put it on the map immediately. And eventually King Seiko came back. But when they decided to bring back Grand Seiko, they thought to themselves, we need a dial that just grabs you, right? That grabs attention. And when they looked through their back catalog, there were a few models that had that original Snowflake dial. But to me, I think this is the one that looks closest to what we have now. So let's get into it. It's the Seiko QT. It's a 70s model, but it's got that snowflake dial. So let's get a good look at it. Now, I wore a suit jacket today because really, that snowflake dial, it's a perfect addition to a dress watch. It looks fantastic coming out from underneath the cuff. But what's beautiful about it is that it's subtle. It doesn't grab you immediately. From a distance, you might assume it's just a white dial, right? Your traditional white dial. But as you catch it from different angles, you'll notice that it's got a pattern. And when you come in close, it truly is reminiscent of snow. As somebody who comes from Canada and we see a lot of snow here, it's such a great design. It's such an iconic, simple, yet beautiful design. And that's why Seiko decided to go with it when they relaunched the Grand Seiko, because no one else does it. This is truly uniquely theirs. Now let's get into the watch itself. So this is actually a 1975 Seiko Quartz QT. QT is a slightly improved version of their standard quartz. It uses the 38-70-30, which I've mentioned in previous videos. This is the movement that kind of formed the basis for the majority of quartz movements from Seiko for, another couple of decades at least. So it's a very reliable movement, and I'm going to show you how accurate this movement still is to this day when you consider that this watch is 50 years old, right? It's a 50-year-old model, and it's in very good shape, obviously. It still has a fair amount of polish. The snowflake dial, which has a tendency to patina and fade over time, this one is still excellent, right? Not quite bright white, but at a level that no one would really complain about. This watch has been serviced, right? I got this from a vintage dealer here in Toronto that I know. He keeps his watches in very good condition, and again, you'll see how incredibly accurate this movement still is, and why mid-70s everything started switching over to quartz. Now, one of the things I always sort of disliked about quartz watches from specific, like Seiko, Timex, whatever, was these battery bumps, right? They're kind of unseemly, but on wrist, you don't actually feel it. And this one has that proprietary Seiko release, so this does require a special tool to open it up and pop the battery out. On the dial, it's a very plain dial, right? No date. It's just a three-hander. But of course, you've got the Seiko Quartz and QT moniker at the 12 o'clock position. And then at the 6 o'clock position, you've got that now infamous sort of Seiko penis, right? The quartz symbol that they went with in the 70s, kind of like putting it out there that we're number one, so to speak. And below that, not as easy to see, but you've got the Suwa factory logo, right? Most synonymous with Grand Seiko. Taro Tanaka, grammar of design case, right? Lots of angles, lots of polished surfaces. Just excellent shape. Unfortunately, like a lot of Seikos from back then, your strap size is 19 millimeter, right? Non-standard. So there are a lot of, Seiko straps and aftermarket straps that do the 19 millimeter sizing because of Seiko primarily. So to add a little something extra to some of the quartz models I'll be covering on this channel, I picked up a quartz watch tester, and this can give us the accuracy of pretty much any quartz watch. And let's check out the Seiko QT Snowflake here. Give it a second to get the full reading. There we go. You're looking at 1/10 of a second per day, right? This watch falls within the 5 seconds per month accuracy range. And like I said, this movement's 50 years old, and look at it go. Nuts, right? Absolutely nuts. And that's why a quartz watch, although the consensus is if you want to keep a watch forever, get an automatic or get a manual and mechanical, realistically, a high accuracy quartz, right? A top of the line quartz will last you as long as any mechanical or automatic. Sure, it requires the occasional exchange of a battery, but you can't mess with how durable and functional these movements are if they're kept up to snuff. For those of you that are interested, this watch is actually for sale. And he's got a couple of these. One has a little more patina on the dial. It's a little more faded, almost yellowed to a certain degree. While that one actually, in my opinion, has a slightly nicer case. There's less signs of wear on the case. And look how beautiful this particular case is. It's hard to find cases more classic and almost contemporary in design as the 70s Taro Tanaka design cases. I mean, you've got the Gerald Genta cases from a number of different manufacturers, but I find the Taro Tanaka cases are just as awesome, if not more impressive to a certain degree, because of the polish that Seiko utilized, that Zaratsu style polishing that can stand the test of time like this one has. Absolutely beautiful watch. If you're interested in buying this watch or others like it, do yourself a solid, join my email list. The link is in the description, and I'll send you the prices of any watches I and others I deal with have for sale each and every month. Until next time, enjoy your watches, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel.